and it keeps on going. See if you can hear. Listen for the time. The sound disappears. Welcome to You Come Too. My name is Steve Glazer, and I'm the 7th and 8th grade English and composition teacher at Crossroads Academy. And You Come Too is the name of our spring poetry unit. And the name comes from a Robert Frost poem, The Pasture. It also is a line from a poem that, because we live in this community, we can go to Rauner Library at Dartmouth College, go into the archives, and see, bear witness as a poem moves from a word to a thought to a manuscript to page proofs, looking at typed manuscripts for an introduction. So we took a field trip. We watched a journal entry, a book that Frost carried in his pocket and has a little bit of bend because it's been loved and used. And on the front cover is a word, democracy. And at the top of a page, I'm thinking about the history of the United States and then seeing the first line of the gift outright emerge. So these students got to see poetry come to life. They've written poems, they've analyzed poems, they've memorized poems, they're translating poems, and tonight they're here to share with you. You Come Too. It's an invitation into Frost's work, into Frost's world, and we'll start by sharing, and then we invite you to join us. Thank you so much.
My name is Rain, and I'll be reciting The Pasture by Robert Frost. I'm going out to clean the pasture spring. I'll only stop to rake the leaves away, and wait to wash the water clear, I may. I shan't be gone long. You come too. I'm going out to fetch the little calf that's standing by the mother. It's so young it totters when she licks it with her tongue. I shan't be gone long. You come too. I also translated it into French, and I will be reading that also. Le pâturage. Je sortirai nettoyer la source du pâturage. Je n'arrêterai que de ratisser les feuilles. Et tendrai regarder l'eau se dissiper, je peux. Je n'y resterai longtemps. Tu viens aussi. J'irai chercher le petit Rôde à côté de sa mère. Il est si jeune. Il chancelle quand elle se lèche de sa langue. Je n'y resterai longtemps. Tu viens aussi.
Hi, I'm Julia, and I'm going to be reciting The Stars. How endlessly they congregate o'er our tumultuous snow, which flows in shapes as tall as trees when wintry winds do blow. As if with keenness for our fate, our faltering few steps on, to white rest and a place of rest, invisible at dawn. And yet with neither love nor hate, those stars like some Snow White, Minerva's snow white marble eyes, without the gift of sight.
Hello, I'm Darius, and I'm going to be reciting Storm Fear. It was in the collection A Boy's Will, published in 1913. When the wind works against us in the dark, and pelts with snow the lower chamber window in the east, and whispers with a sort of stifled bark, the beast. Come out, it costs no inward struggle not to go. Ah, no. I count our strength, tune a child. Those of us not asleep, subdued to mark. How the cold creeps as the fire dies at length. How drifts are piled, door and road yard unbraided. Till even the comforting barn grows far away. And in my heart I own a doubt whether 'tis nice to rise with sun and save ourselves unaided.
Can people get closer to the microphone and speak louder?
Sure.
Sorry.
I'm Jonathan and I have translated Storm Fear into French. Pur d'orage. Quand le vent travaille contre nous dans la nuit et il neige à verse, la fenêtre de la chambre en bas à l'est et chuchote avec un abouillement étouffé. La bête. Sautez, sautez. Ça ne coûte pas de preuve de n'y aller. Ah non. J'écoute notre puissance. 2 plus 1 enfant. Ceux d'entre nous ne dormons pas référés pour marque. Comment la foi Dieu se glisse afin que l'incendie mûre. Comment les tas sont impellés. Arrêt que et roulant rapide jusqu'au point la grange, si consolant, c'est loin. Et mon cœur se doute si on s'est réveillé le matin et se sauve sans elle.
Hi, my name is Kate and I will be reciting Flower Gathering. I left you in the morning, and in the morning glow, you walked away beside me to make me sad to go. Do you know me in the gloaming, gaunt and dusty gray with roaming? Are you dumb because you know me not, or dumb because you know? All for me, and not a question, for the faded flowers gay, that could take me from beside you for the ages of a day? They are yours, and be the measure of their worth for you to treasure, the measure of a little while that I've been long away.
My name is Morgan, and I will be reciting Now Close the Windows. Now close the windows and hush all the fields. If the trees must, let them silently toss. No bird is singing now, and if there is, be it my loss. It'll be long ere the march resume. It'll be long ere the earliest bird. So close the windows and not hear the wind, but see all wind stirred.
My name is Miriam, and I will be reading Hyla Brook. By June, our brooks run out of song and speed. Sought for much after that, it will be found, either to have gone groping underground and taken with it all the Hyla breed that shouted in the mist a month ago, like a ghost of sleigh bells in a ghost of snow, or flourished and come up in jewelweed, weak foliage that is blown upon and bent, even against the way its waters went. Its bed is left a faded paper sheet of dead leaves stuck together by the heat, a brook to none but who remember long. This, as it will be seen, is other far than with brooks taken otherwhere in song. We love the things we love for what they are.
I'm Riley, and I will be reading Hyla Brook in French. Grenouille d'arbre ruisseau. Depuis juin, notre ruisseau s'épuise de chansons et vitesse. Recherche-le, plus tard on le trouvera, ou bien tâtonnant souterrain. Et prenons avec lui tous les îlots qui ont crié il y a un mois dans le brouillard, comme un spectre de cloches de traîneau dans un spectre de neige, ou bien fluorescente et apparaissant dans le chien bijouté. Faible feuillage qu'on souffle sur qui courbe, même contre le passage de l'eau. Son lit n'est qu'une feuille de corail, des feuilles mortes collées pour chaleur. Un ruisseau seul au sol qui se souvient longtemps, comme on le voit si loin, comme des ruisseaux d'ailleurs de chansons. On aime ce qu'on aime, quoi qu'il soit.
And I translated A Time to Talk into French. Le temps à parler. Quand un ami m'appelle de la rue et se fait ralentir le cheval à se marcher, je ne reste pas immobile et regarde partout. Toutes les collines, je n'ai pas encore viné. Je ne crie pas de ma place. Qu'est-ce que tu as? Non, car nous avons le temps de se parler. Je plonge ma binette dans le sol riche, bout de la lame levée à mesure de 5 mètres, et je marche d'un pas lourd jusqu'au mur en pierre pour se visiter aimablement.
My name is Miriam, and I will first be saying the last word of a bluebird, which was originally published in 1916 in Robert Frost's book, Mountain Interval. The last word of a bluebird, as told to a child. As I went out, a crow, in a low voice, said, "Oh, I was looking for you. How do you do? I just came to tell Leslie, that her little bluebird wanted me to bring word that the north wind last night, who made the stars bright and made ice on the trough, almost made him cough his tail feathers off. He just had to fly, but he sent her goodbye and said to be good and wear her red hood, and look for skunk tracks in the snow with an axe, and do everything, and perhaps in the spring he would come back and sing." Also translated that poem into French. Le dernier mot d'un merle bleu qu'on racontait à un enfant. Quand je suis sorti, un corbeau dans une voix basse a dit, "Oh, je te cherchais, comment vas-tu? Je suis arrivé pour te dire à Leslie, le veux-tu que son petit merle bleu voulait que je te dise la nouvelle que le vent du nord hier soir, qui a fait briller les étoiles et fait de la glace le revoir, l'a fait tant tousser qu'il a presque perdu les plumes de sa queue. Il tenait absolument à partir, mais il lui a dit au revoir et lui a dit d'être sage et de porter son chaperon rouge et de chercher des traces de la moufette dans la neige avec une hache, et de tout faire, et peut-être au printemps, il reviendrait et chanterait.
Buonasera. I'm Miriam's mother, and she twisted my arm to translate this also into Italian. L'ultima parola di un uccello azzurro, come raccontato ad un bambino. Mentre uscivo, un corvo, in una voce bassa, ha detto: "Oh, ti cercavo, piacere di conoscerti. Sono arrivato solamente per dirti, di dire a Leslie, lo farai, che il suo piccolo uccello azzurro voleva che ti dissi la notizia, che il vento del nord ieri sera, che ha fatto brillare le stelle e ha messo il ghiaccio sull'abbeveratoio, l'ha fatto tanto tossire che ha quasi perso le piume della coda. Ci teneva assolutamente a partire, ma gli ha detto arrivederci e ha detto di essere saggio e di portare il suo cappuccio rosso e di cercare le tracce della moffetta nella neve con un'ascia e di fare tutto, e forse in primavera ritornerebbe e canterebbe."
Che bello!
Hi, I'm Nikki, and I'm going to be reciting Fire and Ice. Some say the world will end in fire, some say in ice. From what I've tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. But if it had to perish twice, I think I know enough of hate to say that for destruction, ice is also great and would suffice.
Fire and Ice, but in Spanish.
Fuego y Hielo,
De Robert Frost.
una traducción por Luis López Nieves.
El mundo acabará, dicen presa del fuego.
Otros afirman que vencerá el hielo.
Por lo que yo sé acerca del deseo.
Doy la razón a los que hablan de fuego.
Mas si el mundo tuviera que sucumbir 2 veces
Pienso que sé bastante sobre el odio.
para afirmar que la ruina sería
Quizás tan grande
y bastaría.
I will also be reciting in a disused graveyard. The living come with grassy tread to read the gravestones on the hill. The graveyard draws the living still, but never any more the dead. The verses in it say and say, the ones who are living come today to read the stones and go away. Tomorrow dead will come to stay. So sure of death these marbles rhyme, yet can't help marking all the time how no one dead will seem to come. What is it men are shrinking from? It would be easy to be clever and tell the stones men hate to die and have stopped dying now forever. I think they would believe the lie.
Once again, I'm Dylan, and I'm going to be reciting Dust of Snow. The way a crow shook down on me, the dust of snow from a hemlock tree, has given my heart a change of mood and saved some part of a day I had rued.
I'm going to be reciting Dust of Snow in French. Poussière de neige. Ainsi qu'un corbeau, il agit en bas sur moi. La poussière de neige de l'arbre de cité a changé l'humeur de mon corps et fait sauver quelques pièces d'un jour que je vais regretter.
I'm Marion, and I'm going to be reciting Nothing Gold Can Stay. Nature's first green is gold, her hardest hue to hold. Her early leaf's a flower, but only so an hour. Then leaf subsides to leaf, so Eden sank to grief. So dawn goes down to day, nothing gold can stay.
For a third time, I'm Dylan. I'm going to be reciting Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening. Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. My little horse must think it clear to stop without a farmhouse near, between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep.
I'm going to be reciting The Freedom of the Moon. I've tried the new moon tilted in the air, above a hazy tree and farmhouse cluster, as you might try a jewel in your hair. I've tried it fine, with little breath of luster, alone or with one ornament combining, with one first water star almost as shining. I put it shining anywhere I please, by walking slowly on some evening later. I pulled it from a crate of crooked trees, and brought it over glossy water, greater, and dropped it in and seen the image wallow, the color run, all sorts of wonder follow. And I translated this poem into French. La liberté de la lune. J'ai essayé la nouvelle lune penchée dans le ciel, au-dessus d'un groupe d'arbres et fermes brumeux, comme tu pourrais essayer un bijou dans tes cheveux. Je l'ai essayé bien avec peu de largeur de lustre, seul ou dans un biberon mélangeant avec une première étoile d'eau presque aussi éclatante. J'ai la pose luisante n'importe où que je veux, en marchant lentement une autre soirée plus tard. Je les tire d'une caisse d'arbres courbés
et la porter au-dessus de l'eau brillante plus importante. Et les laisser tomber et vu l'image se vautrer, la couleur coule toutes sortes de merveilles suivantes. And I will also be saying the poem The Rose Family. The rose is a rose and was always a rose, but the theory now goes that the apple's a rose, and the pear is, and so is the plum, I suppose. The deer only knows what will next prove a rose. You, of course, are a rose, but we're always a rose.
I'm still Mickey, and I translated the Rose family into French. La famille de Rose. La rose est une rose, et a été toujours une rose, mais la théorie contemporaine dit que la pomme est une rose, et la poire aussi, et aussi la pomme, je suppose, les cerises sur le savon, qui deviendra une rose. Toi, bien sûr, tu es rose, mais tu es toujours rose.
I'm Leanna, and I will be reciting Devotion. The heart can think of no devotion greater than being shore to ocean, holding the curve of one position, counting endless repetition.
I'll be reciting the Devotion in Spanish, and it's translated by Luis Lopez Nieves with some changes. El corazón no puede creer en devoción mayor que la de ser playa del océano, manteniendo la curva de una posición, contando una infinita repetición.
My name is Miriam, and I will be saying A Passing Glimpse, which was first published in 1928 in the book West Running Brook. I often see flowers from a passing car that are gone before I can tell what they are. I want to get out of the train and go back to see what they were beside the track. I name all the flowers, I'm sure they weren't, not fireweed loving where woods have burnt, not bluebells gracing a tunnel mouth, not lupin living on sand and drought, with something brushed across my mind that no one on earth will ever find. Heaven gives its glimpses only to those not in position to look too close.
My name's Elizabeth, and I will be reading A Passing Glimpse, translated in French. Entrevoir passant, je vois souvent des fleurs d'une voiture qui passe, qui s'enfuit avant que je les reconnaisse. Je vois sortir du train et rentrer, voir croire qu'il soit à côté de la voie ferrée. Je nomme toutes des fleurs qu'elles ne sont pas des fleurs qui bordent la bois brûlée. Pas de gersins des bois qui ont la bouche d'un tunnel, pas de loup vivre qui habite ce sable et sécheresse. Quelque chose effleure tellement l'esprit que personne ne trouvera jamais. Paradis offre ses entrevoirs à ceux qui ne peuvent pas regarder si proche.
My name is Rain, and I'll be reciting A Peck of Gold by Robert Frost. In this poem, Frost shares his childhood in San Francisco. Dust always blowing about the town, except when sea fog laid it down. And I was one of the children told, some of the blowing dust was gold. All the dust the wind blew high appeared like gold in the sunset sky. But I was one of the children told, some of the dust was really gold. Such was life in the Golden Gate. Gold dusted all we drank and ate. And I was one of the children told, we all must eat our peck of gold.
I will be reciting Lodged. The rain to the wind said, "You push and I'll pelt." They so smote the garden bed that the flowers actually knelt and lay lodged, though not dead. I know how the flowers felt.
I will be reading A Patch of Old Snow. There's a patch of old snow in a corner that I should have guessed was a blow-away paper the rain had brought to rest. It is speckled with grime as if small print overspread it, the news of a day I've forgotten, if I ever read it.
I will be reading A Patch of Old Snow in French. Un bout de neige ancienne. Il y a un bout de neige ancienne dans un coin, et j'aurais dû deviner, c'était un journal que la pluie a emporté et qui est arrivé à son repos. Il est tacheté de classe comme les petits caractères l'a répandu, les nouvelles d'un jour que je ne me souviens plus, si je les ai jamais lues.
My name's Sierra, and I'm going to be reciting Canis Major and reading Canis Major in French. The great overdog, that heavenly beast, with a star in one eye, gives a leap to the east. He dances upright all the way to the west, and never once drops on his 4 feet to rest. I'm a poor underdog, but tonight I will bark with the great overdog that romps through the dark. Regarde aux 7 bêtes célestes, avec une étoile dans un œil, bande de l'est. Elle danse verticale, traversant à l'ouest, et ne tombe jamais sur ses pattes pour se reposer. Je suis un pauvre petit ours, mais ce soir j'ai brûlé avec le grand ours qui s'ébattait à travers la nuit. I'm also going to be reciting Peril of Hope. It is right in there, betwixt and between, the orchard bare and the orchard green, when the boughs are ripe and in a flowery burst of pink and white that we fear the worst. For there's not a climb, but at any cost, we'll pass the time for a night of frost. I'm going to be saying the poem Acquainted with the Night. I have been one acquainted with the night. I have walked out in rain and back in rain. I have outwalked the furthest city light. I have looked down the saddest city lane. I have passed by the watchman on his beat and dropped my eyes, unwilling to explain. I have stood still and stopped the sound of feet, when far away an interrupted cry came over houses from another street, but not to call me back or say goodbye. And further still, at an unearthly height, one luminary clock against the sky proclaimed the time was neither wrong nor right. I have been one acquainted with the night.
I'm Jonathan, and the last time I checked, I'm still Jonathan. Okay, so I'll be reciting The Gift Outright, which was read by Robert Frost during the inauguration of John F. Kennedy. The land was ours before we were the land's. She was our land for more than 100 years. Before we were her people, she was ours in Massachusetts and Virginia. But we were England's, still colonials, possessing what we were unpossessed by, possessing what we now no more possessed. Something we were withholding made us weak, until we realized it was ourselves. We were withholding from our land of living, and forthwith found salvation in surrender. Such as we were, we gave ourselves outright. The deed of gift was in many deeds of war, to the land vaguely realizing westward, still unstoried and unenhanced, such as she was and such as she would become.
So I will be trying to recite, but maybe reading Christmas Trees.
The city had withdrawn into itself, and left at last the country to the country, when between worlds of snow not come to lie, and worlds of foliage not yet laid, there drove a stranger to our yard, who looked the city, yet did in country fashion, in that there he sat and waited till he drew us out, a buttoning coats to ask him who he was. He proved to be the city come again, to look for something it had left behind, until to look for something it had left behind and could not do without and keep its Christmas. My woods, the young fir balsams, like a place where houses were all our churches and have spires. I hadn't thought of them as Christmas trees. I doubt if I was tempted for a moment to sell them off their feet to go in cars and leave the slope behind the house all there, where the sun shines now no warmer than the moon. I'd hate to have them know it if I was. Yet more, I'd hate to hold my trees, except as others hold theirs, or refuse for them. Beyond the time of profitable growth, the trial by market everything must come to. I dallied so much with the thought of selling. Then whether from mistaken courtesy and fear of seeming short of speech, or whether from hope of hearing good of what was mine, I said, there aren't enough to be worthwhile. I could soon tell how many they would cut. He let me look them over. You could look, but don't expect I'm going to let you have them. Pasture they spring in, some in clumps too close, that lop each other of boughs, but not a few. Quite solitary and having equal boughs, all around and round. The latter he nodded yes to, or paused to say beneath some lovelier one, with the buyer's moderation, that would do. Or, I thought so too, but wasn't there to say so. We climbed the pasture on the south, crossed over, and came down on the north. He said, 1,000. 1,000 Christmas trees, at what a piece. He felt some need of softening that to me. 1,000 trees would come to $30. Then I was certain I had never meant to let him have them. Never show surprise. But $30 seemed so small beside the extent of pasture I should strip. 3 cents, for that is all they figured out apiece. 3 cents so small beside the dollar friends I should be writing to within the hour will pay in cities for good trees like those. Regular vestry trees, whole Sunday schools could hang on enough on to pick off enough. 1,000 Christmas trees I didn't know I had, as may be shown by a simple calculation. Too bad I couldn't lay one in a letter. I can't help wishing I could send you one, and wishing you hereforth a Merry Christmas.
My name is Elizabeth, and I will be reciting Birches by Robert Frost. When I see birches bend to left and right, across the lines of straighter, darker trees, I like to think some boy's been swinging them, but swinging doesn't bend them down to stay, as ice storms do. Often you must have seen them, loaded with ice, a sunny winter morning after rain. They click upon themselves as the breeze rises and turn many-colored, as the stir cracks and crazes their enamel. Soon the sun's warmth makes them shed crystal shells, shattering and avalanching on the snow crust. Such heaps of broken glass to sweep away, you'd think the inner dome of heaven had fallen. They are dragged to the withered, brackened by the load, and they seem not to break, though once they are bowed. So low for long, they never right themselves. You may see their trunks arching in the woods, years afterward, trailing their leaves on the ground, like girls on hands and knees that throw their hair before them over their heads to dry in the sun. But I was going to say, when Truth broke in with her matter-of-fact about the ice storm, I should prefer to have some boy bet them, as he went out and in to fetch the cows. Some boy too far from town to learn baseball, whose only play was what he found himself, summer or winter, and could play alone. One by one, he subdued his father's treats by writing them down over and over again, until he took the stiffness out of them, and not one but hung limp, not one was left for him to conquer. He learned all there was to learn about not launching out too soon, and so not carrying the tree away, clear to the ground. He always kept his poise to the top branches, climbing carefully, with the same pains used to fill a cup, up to the brim and even above the brim. Then he flung outward, feet first with a swish, kicking his way down through the air to the ground. So was I once myself a swinger of birches, and so I dream of going back to be. It's when I'm weary of considerations, and life is too much like a pathless wood, where your face burns and tickles with the cobwebs, broken across it, and one eye is weeping from a twig's having lashed across it open. Please stand by. I'd like to get away from Earth a while, and then come back to it and begin over. May no fate willfully misunderstand me, and half grant me what I wish, and snatch me away, not to return. Earth's the right place for love. I don't know where it's likely to go better. I'd like to go by climbing a birch tree, and climb black branches up a snow-white trunk. Hang on. Toward heaven, until the tree could bear no more, but dipped its top and set me down again. That would be good for both going and coming back. One could do worse than be a swinger of birches.
Before we invite others to come up and speak, a round of applause, please. A number of people signed up to read. Benton, welcome.
Hi, I'm Benton, and I will be reading neither out far nor in deep. Hang on. The people along the sand all turn and look one way. They turn their back upon the land. They look at the sea all day. As long as it came to pass, a ship keeps raising its hull. The water ground like glass reflects a standing gull. The land may vary more, but wherever the truth may be, the waves will come ashore, and the people will look to the sea. They cannot look out far, they cannot look in deep, but when was that ever a bar to any truth they keep?
Hello, so I'm Alexander, and I will be reciting A Passing Glimpse. I often see flowers from a passing car that are gone before I can tell what they are. I want to get out of the train and go back to see what they were beside the track. I name all the flowers I am sure they weren't. Not fireweed, loving where the woods have burnt. Not bluebells, gracing a tunnel mouth. Not lupin, living on sand and drought. Was something brushed across my mind that no one on earth shall ever find? Heaven gives its glimpses only to those not in position to look too close.
Can I really do this? Yeah.
All the way from Thetford.
Signed up to read a poem.
The Road Not Taken. This is an important poem to read, so I thought somebody should, right? Okay. The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both and be one traveler. Long I stood and looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as for that the passing there had worn them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay, in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference.
Hi, my name is David. I'll be reading The Road Not Taken. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. And be one traveler, long I stood, and looked down once as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as for that, the passing there had worn them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay, in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way. I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh, so our ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference.
So, I'm Eleanor, and I'll be doing In a Disused Graveyard by Robert Frost, of course. The living come with grassy tread to read the gravestones on the hill. The graveyard draws the living still, but never any more the dead. The verses in it say, to those who living come today, to read the storms and go away, tomorrow death will come to stay. So sure of death the marbles rhyme, yet can't help marking all the time that how no one dead will seem to come. What is it men are shrinking from? It would be easy to be clever and tell the stones men hate to die and have stopped dying now forever. I think they would believe the lie.
Carol Spearman Macaulay, and I'll try to read slowly enough so you can understand what I'm saying. I'm a writer and editor, and I live in Hanover, and I've written 13 books of different kinds and a lot of short work, including prize-winning poems. And I want to read, I'm one of those crazy kids who actually memorized poems when I was young and was happy to know about them. And I want to read two that don't seem to have got done tonight. One is Mending Wall, which is about two neighbors trying to keep the stone wall between their property from falling apart. And the other one is Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening, so I try to read things that other people haven't, read already. Okay, here's Mending Wall. Something there is that doesn't love a wall, that wins, that that sends the frozen ground swell under it and pulls the upper boulders to the sun and makes gaps even two can pass abreast. The work of hunters is another thing. I have come after them and made repair when they have left not one stone upon a stone, but they should have the rabbit out of hiding to please the yelping dogs. The gaps, I mean, no one has seen them made or heard them made, but at spring mending time, we find them there. I let my neighbor know beyond the hill, and on a day we meet to walk the line and set the wall between us once again. We keep the wall between us as we go to each the boulders that have fallen to each. And some are loaves and some are nearly balls. We have to use a spell to make them balance. Say where you are until our backs are turned. We wear our fingers rough with handling them. Oh, just another kind of outdoor game, one on a side, and it comes to a little more where it is we do not need the wall. He is all pine and I am apple orchard. My apple trees will never get across and eat the cones under his pines, I tell him. He only says, good fences make good neighbors. Spring is the mischief to me, and I wonder if I could put a notion in his head. Why do they make good neighbors? Isn't it where there are cows? But here there are no cows. And before I build a wall, I asked to know what I was walling in or walling out, or to whom I was like to give offense. Something there is that doesn't love a wall, that wants it down, I could say. Elves to him, but it's not elves exactly, and I'd rather, he said for himself, I see him there bringing us a stone grasped firmly by the top in each hand, like an old stone savage turned. He moves in darkness, and it seems, as it seems to me, not of woods only and the shade of trees. He will not go behind his father's saying, and he likes having thought of it as well. He says again, good fences make good neighbors. That's one you can think about, of keeping boundaries and not stepping on other people's whatevers. And now I'll read Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening, which was always one of my favorite poems. Stopping by woods on a snowy evening. Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near, between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep and miles to go before I sleep. and miles to go before I sleep. Thank you.
Alice, and I'm the New Hampshire State Poet Laureate. I'm really honored to be here with all of you who've worked with these poems for so long and memorized them. And I hope that when you get to high school, you will participate in Poetry Out Loud. Do you know Poetry Out Loud? I'm going to read to Earthward. Love at the lips was touch as sweet as I could bear, and once that seemed too much. I lived on air that crossed me from sweet things, the flow of, was it musk, from hidden grapevine springs, downhill at dusk? I had the swirl and ache from sprays of honeysuckle that when they're gathered shake dew on the knuckle. I craved strong sweets, but those seemed strong when I was young. The petal of the rose it was that stung. Now no joy but lacks salt, that is not dashed with pain and weariness and fault. I crave the stain of tears, the aftermark of almost too much love, the sweet of bitter bark and burning clove. When stiff and sore and scarred, I take away my hand from leaning on it too hard. In grass and sand, the hurt is not enough. I long for weight and strength to feel the earth as rough to all my length.
Are there other people here who have not signed the sheet, but have a poem they would like to share? Or maybe a little bit of a Frost story to tell?
Thank you.
Oh my God.
I'm Elke Konings, but in most parts of the world, you're no longer known as your own name once you have a child. So I'm better known as the mother of Eleanor. I'm from Belgium, and in Belgium we recently had, as you know, a terrorist attack, and therefore we're united with the United States and France and many other countries in the world in our feelings about what the world has become today. However, we also have our own Robert Frost, and our Robert Frost is called Paul van Ostaaien, and he's a locally very well known, just like Robert Frost, poet. And I would like to recite my favorite poem by my own country's Robert Frost, Paul van Ostaaien. And just before I do that, I'm going to briefly summarize what the poem is about. It says, sleep as a giant, sleep as a rose, sleep as a giant of a rose. Sleep as a giant of a rose in a cookie box, close the box and sleep. So here goes. Slaap als een reus, slaap als een roos, slaap als een reus van een roos. Reuzeke, rozeke, koekedoekstooseke, doe de deur dicht van de doos en slaap.
celebration, find a place to your hearts.
I know a Robert Frost story.
So some years ago, I don't know, maybe about 10 years ago, when all of the state quarters were coming out with the different symbols for each state, New Hampshire was having trouble deciding between having the face of Robert Frost or the Old Man in the Mountain, which was the cliff face up in the White Mountains that was shaped like an old man. And they chose the Old Man in the Mountain, not Robert Frost. And shortly after that, the face of the Old Man in the Mountain fell off. And I just have always thought that's Robert Frost getting the last laugh.
This is gonna bother me all night if I don't fix this. I have to do this. Go Lizzie! This is the part I forgot. I'd like to get away from Earth a while, then come back to it and begin over. May no fate willfully misunderstand me, or in half grant me what I wish and snatch me away, not to return. Earth's the right place for love. I don't know where it's likely to go better. I'd like to go by climbing a birch tree and climb branches up a snow-white trunk toward heaven till the tree could bear no more, but dipped its top and set me down again. That would be good, both going and coming back. One could do worse than be a swinger of birches.
Thank you so much for coming this evening. One of the reasons we're here is our commitment to service and to community. It's important to share these poems together, to have celebrations where we come together, to mark the times in the year, to mark the years of our lives, and to celebrate Robert Frost's 142nd birthday. A mother and daughter made a cake. We have a birthday cake, which is quite impressive. May we try to finish it and enjoy each other's company, and then be out of here by 8 when they want us to close. Thank you so much.